Do you remember the most effortless golf shot you've ever hit? Take a moment and try and remember it. Exactly what did you feel? The first word that comes to mind is probably nothing. You felt nothing, as if the ball almost just melted on the face. You can remember it like it was yesterday, but for the life of you, you can't figure out just how you did it. There was just something magical about that one swing and that one shot. If only there was a way to pull that shot out on command, or better yet, just do it on every swing. In this video, I'm going to share with you the pro formula for hitting shots like this consistently and how my members are picking up as much as 30 miles per hour of clubhead speed. Yes, seriously, 30 miles per hour, and they're doing it with the effortless feel that I'm going to share with you. And if you want more tips on how to hit it farther now than you did 20 years ago, make sure you click that subscribe and like button. It really helps us a lot to give you more free tips like this all the time.
When you listen to Tiger Woods talk about his golf swing, he's almost always talking about his hands. I mean, everybody else is talking about their bodies. It's very interesting, and specifically, he's talking about his right hand, and even more specifically, he generally talks about hand speed, which is exactly what we're going to cover in this video. Oftentimes, golfers misinterpret this idea of hand speed and think of it as how fast can you move your hands from the top of your swing back to the ball. But that's not what he's referring to at all. And in fact, if you're stuck at that 220, 230, 240 yard drive number, you need to listen up, because you need to do the opposite of that. You don't need to try and accelerate your hands as fast as you can. You need what is really referring to as hand speed. So what are we talking about when we say hand speed? Most amateur golfers that I play with, when they try to keep up with me off the tee, they start swinging harder and faster and trying to get their hands to get back to the ball as fast as they can. They do this either by trying to turn their shoulders as fast as they can, or simply pushing with their right arm or shoulder as fast as they can. And they do this in an effort to produce power, but that's not what you're looking for in the golf swing. What you want is speed. Now, instinctively, you know that swinging with your body as hard as you can doesn't produce great shots. You probably find yourself kind of falling off balance all the time, struggling to maintain a nice finish. That's because you don't understand how to produce real speed in the golf swing. And speed really comes from your wrists. It's all in your wrists. When you understand that, you understand why guys like me, my size, 5'9", 165 pounds, can carry the ball over 300 yards. It's not because I'm physically stronger than you or more flexible. It's purely because I understand how to produce speed, just like Tiger's talking about, with my hands and my wrists. And it's exactly this release of the wrist that Tiger's talking about when he's talking about hand speed. He's talking about how fast he can get his hands to release the club head through the ball. That is the secret to effortless power. If you don't understand exactly the motion that your wrists need to take through the impact area, you must understand this, or you will always struggle with golf. And I just did nearly an hour-long video that walks you through the exact details of how your wrists work in a Tour Pro caliber release of the golf club that's going to get the club the fastest from this side of the ball to that side of the ball. That's the whole purpose of the golf swing. If you haven't seen that video, I'll put a link to it down in the description below. In this video, you'll come to understand how the wrists have to work, because again, your only purpose is to move this club head from this side of the ball to that side of the ball as fast as you can. Once you understand that, then the golf swing starts to make a heck of a lot of sense, and why you don't have any power, because most golfers actually hold their wrists quite rigid and are trying to drive the club through, and that won't work for producing speed. Think about it objectively for a second. What joint in your body do you have that can move the golf club from this side of the ball to that side of the ball faster than your wrists? Can you twist your spine faster than you can move your wrists? Do you think you can turn your hips faster than you can move the wrists? Club didn't move at all. It's always been about the wrist speed. That's what Tiger's talking about. It's what all the greats talk about when they're talking about hand speed in their golf swings. Here's a drill to get your first taste of what effortless speed in the golf swing really feels like. Mike Austin, one of the longest hitters on the planet when he was alive, and still holds the record for the longest drive in a professional golf event at 515 yards, and he did it in his 60s. He used this idea of snapping a towel with the lead wrist. That's the feeling of how the wrist needs to move. Now, a lot of golfers think they want to get this left wrist really flat and then hold it like this all the way through. You can do that if you're really fit and young and athletic and flexible and can create a lot of body speed and you don't have any back or hip injuries yet. But once you do, you're going to realize not only is that not the fastest way to swing the club anyway, but it's much more work. I'm looking for effortless speed. If you follow a rotary swing, that's what we're all about. If you want to rotate your body through as hard as you can, go somewhere else. If you want to learn how to hit the ball really fast with as minimal effort as possible, this is your place. And to get a feel for this, what Mike talked about was that you would feel as if you were snapping a towel. Now, how would you snap a towel? Would you keep dragging your wrist through? Would you keep your wrist really flat and bowed and hold it like that? Just grab a club and feel this for yourself. What would get the club to move faster? Would it be this, letting the wrist break down? Notice how the club is now accelerating. As the club head is moving this way, I actually want my hand to go back this way. That's actually moving the club faster. It's accelerating it. That lead wrist has to break down. If you're holding it off, you're just leaving speed and a ton of it on the table. But once you get the feeling of how the wrist can be really soft and supple, you can see it's just a little snap. Now, of course, in the real swing, you can't actually pull your hand back like this. Too much momentum, the body's rotating, etc. But this is a great feeling to get the feel of how the club head should work through the ball in terms of how supple and soft your wrist needs to feel to get your wrist to snap, because that's where all the effortless speed is. Think about it. Where else could you get it? You can't just turn nice and smooth and slow and get the ball to go anywhere. Your wrists are where the speed is. We've known for decades that it's about 2/3 of your club head speed comes from the release of your wrists. So get a feel for how this club should snap past your wrist when you let this wrist rehinge on the other side. This is an active motion as you're letting that club release through the ball. Now, you've no doubt experienced this at least once in your lifetime playing golf, where you've hit a shot and you just have no idea how you did it. The ball rocketed off the face. It felt like it was like an ice cream cone melting on the face on the 4th of July. The ball just rockets off the face somehow. Well, how does that happen? Well, tell me if this scenario has ever happened to you. You're on a par 5 and you have to lay up because it doesn't matter. You can't go for the green in 2. And it doesn't matter how far down the fairway you lay up. It's going to basically leave you the same shot in. So what you do, you grab your 7-iron, you're like, oh, well, doesn't matter if I hit it 120 yards or 180 yards, I'm still gonna have basically the same approach shot in. So you just step up there and you make a really relaxed swing, so you don't really care how far it goes. And then you're like, whoa, holy cow, it's the best shot I hit all day. Tell me that hasn't happened to you. I know it has. It's happened to me millions of times. The trick is you finally took all that tension away out of your arms and wrists and shoulders and let the club snap through the ball. That's exactly what Mike Austin is talking about, and that's why he was one of the longest hitters to ever play the game. So now, how do we get that shot to happen every single time, not just when we have a special par 5 to lay up on? The trick is, once you understand how the lead wrist has to be supple to allow the club to release past the body, past the ball, through the ball, you got to understand that it's the trail hand that's providing all the power for this. The trail hand is where all the speed is. This is why Tiger's always talking about his right hand and how he uses the right hand to add speed. Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, they all are talking about the same thing. That's how they were able to produce so much speed. It's this trail wrist that is in the most powerful and leveraged position to be able to drive the club head through the ball. Again, that's why Tiger's always talking about it in his swing. And it's the correct use of the trail hand that allows you to maintain leverage in the swing, have shaft lean at impact, deal off the club face, and get into a flat lead wrist at the impact. It's all about understanding how to use this trail hand correctly. It is simply learning how to use this trail hand correctly that is missing in your golf swing if you don't have the power that you know that you should. I've created a sequence of drills that's going to teach you how the wrist moves, exactly what it needs to feel like, exactly how to do it every day in order to get real speed. And this is not something that's going to take you weeks or months to figure out. You are going to have real speed immediately if you're not using your wrist correctly right now. How do you know that? If you can't regularly carry the ball easily at least 270 yards in the air, you're not using your wrist correctly. So I'm going to share with you this exact sequence of drills that I do every single day, and I do the same thing with my students to help them create speed immediately in their golf swings with no effort. It's just in your wrists. And what's also interesting is I'm going to teach you another drill that's going to help you understand how to feel more lead eye dominant, so left eye if you're a right-handed golfer, because this is absolutely critical to helping get the club to whip past the body. If you're very right eye dominant, you definitely want to pay attention to this part of the video. I'll even show you a very simple grip tweak that can give you 5 miles an hour just by understanding how to grip the club to create more leverage in your trail hand. Yep, just by slightly changing your grip, you can add 5 miles per hour to your driver's swing speed instantly. What's really interesting about the wrist movement in the golf swing, if you want to have real effortless speed, all you need to be able to understand is how to draw the letter J with your wrist. If you understand what that is, how to draw a letter J, that's all the wrist movement in the backswing and downswing. That's how simple this is. And that's why golf swings that are really efficient look really simple because we're just getting the speed from our wrist by drawing the letter J with our right hand. So if you're ready to finally realize your distance potential and see results immediately, truly real fast, instant results of instant club head speed just by drawing the letter J with your trail hand, click the link down below. I'll post a link in the comments and I'll post a link in the description. They'll take you to this video and you'll instantly understand why you've never had speed and why guys my size can hit the ball so far with so little effort.